My 1-year-old is almost always pleasant to be around, but sometimes he can be pretty strong-willed. To be fair, though, that's pretty typical of a lot of toddlers. This morning, we got him up and we were downstairs playing when he decided he was ready for his milk. When he didn't get it as fast as he thought he should, he started crying. And when my wife opened up the fridge to get the milk out for him, he was so excited that he was hovering over there by the fridge door, and poor little guy got his finger smushed just a little bit by the door. So in addition to crying for not having his milk when he wanted it, and his finger was hurting, he was sobbing, tears streaming down his face. I poured the milk for him into his sippy cup, and despite all the tears and sobbing, when I handed it to him, my wife and I could very clearly understand him say, "Thank you, Dada." Poor little buddy. Even in the midst of his pain and anguish, at least as much anguish as a 1-year-old can experience, he still managed to be grateful. The young church in Philippi was so thankful to Paul for bringing them the gospel that some years later they were still going out of their way to partner with Paul in the work God had sent him to do. Even when Paul was in prison, they sent aid and supplies to him so he could endure his time in chains. Throughout the letter Paul sent to them, Paul is keenly aware of their help. Here's what he says near the end of the letter. "You Philippians indeed know that in the early days of the gospel, when I left Macedonia, no church shared with me in the matter of giving and receiving except you alone. For even when I was in Thessalonica, which is really not that far away from Philippi, you sent help for my needs more than once." Without even saying the words "thank you," Paul is still very clearly grateful for their prayers and support. Gratitude is one of the most winsome qualities a person can have, but what is it about a grateful person that makes you want to be around them? Why is it a good idea to frequently express your genuine appreciation? Well, a few things come to mind. Gratitude has a way of connecting us to others. When we say thanks, we acknowledge our interaction with someone who helped us in some way, even if relatively small or temporary. It could be something as simple as saying thanks to the server at a restaurant because they brought your food out to you, or something as significant as expressing gratitude to your spouse when you lose a parent or another loved one. The service they provided sustained you, however briefly, and that was meaningful to you. Gratitude is an acknowledgement of our partnership with others, like the kind of partnership the Philippians had with Paul. When we say thanks to coworkers, we express our appreciation for what they've done, for example. Gratitude can also help ensure future partnerships. I know, at least for me, I know I'm more willing to help someone in the future when they have appreciated my efforts to help them in the past. It's also just more pleasant to be around grateful people. As a parent, I'll admit I find it easier to be around children who say thank you when you do things for them. I've also noticed grateful people tend to complain less. Maybe because they realize their indebtedness to others for what they have. This last point is one that I hadn't really thought much about until a lady from our church mentioned this the other day in one of our online Bible classes. She remarked that gratitude can often be a sign of humility because the grateful person recognizes the cost someone else paid on our behalf. We all owe something to someone. And if you're a Christian, then you realize you owe all the good things you've experienced from the past until now and will experience in the future. All of those good things come from God, whose Son paid the ultimate price on our behalf. So, just in time for Thanksgiving, let's remember not only to be grateful, but to express our gratitude to those around us. And maybe, in the process, we'll spread a little joy along the way.